All right, we are live. What is up, everybody? It is the RP Ginger here, and we are running session 2 of our mini adventure, a potential 1-3, perhaps a 4 shot, 3 shot. We don't really know yet. We're gonna get to the end of it when we get to the end of it. But this adventure, I've stated in the first session, is not something of my own devices. I did not write this module, but the title of it is very spoiler heavy, so I'm keeping that a mystery for now until the end of the game, where I will reveal the name of this module and credit the people who wrote it and all that. But for now, we're going to keep it a mystery. We started the adventure with the party heading to a town called Oakney's Hold, where they are newly formed adventurers looking to get a job in this allegedly bustling town, a mining town that has recently discovered a new semi-precious stone called azurite, which is created from weathering raw copper ore. This was discovered about a year ago, and apparently Oakney's Hold has went from this small kind of copper mining town to a now bustling, borderlining cosmopolitan area. So they headed down in that direction, but when they got to Oakney, they discovered that things weren't as rumored as they were seemed to be. The townspeople were grumpy, the prices were high, and no one seemed happy that they were there. They went to look for a rook, which is apparently really hard to find right now, and they basically got into a scuffle with a local who thought it was unfair that all these outsiders were getting hired and the locals were not getting work. After the scuffle was done and the trading post destroyed by the fight, the owner was basically given some money and an apology, and due to the party helping out break up the fight, he gave them a lead on a potential job that had to do with being discreet and investigating something. They went to the Orc's Eye, where they met up with a man named Tavares, who apparently is a high steward of Oakney's Hold, the keep there. And they were told that a lot of things are not as it seems. And recently, the Baron has kind of done a flip. He's went from an uncaring, kind of fair, but not really in the minute details of ruling, to suddenly being obsessed with every fashion of ruling the keep, and he hasn't been doing a good job of that. So the party has been hired on to be guards, librarians, and handmaidens to see if they can discreetly get into the keep and see if they can figure out what is going on. They were told not to directly come in contact with a couple of individuals, risking getting fired. Apparently, the Baron and his Chamberlain are just firing people left, right, and center. So they were told to discreetly go in and just watch and wait and see if they can figure out what's going on. And that is basically where we are going to start the adventure. It is now just before sunup. There is a heaviness to your eyes as you all have awoken from whatever arrangements you have slept from, and you're now head to the keep of the Baron. And you're walking through Oakney as the darkness is slowly turning to those bright kind of pinkish oranges as the sun is just beginning to raise. And being a nice summer morning, it's already getting pretty warm. And you approach the keep, and there's a road that kind of, the keep itself is basically on this small little island slightly in the center of the river, and there's like this almost bridge path that leads to it. And you look at this impressive keep of the Baron. It's many stories high with several towers coming from different areas reaching up into the dusk sky or the dawn. And you see that the keep, as impressive as it is completely adorned in these blue flags and blue paintings and all that. Just basically, it seems to be the color of Baron Reinson, blue, and there's a flag, and the flag has the symbol of his family, which is a big chunk of azurite. And as you're walking to the gates, there is Milton, which was a another steward who apparently runs the place, and he's waiting for you. And there's a couple of other new recruits. You guys have a few moments to discuss amongst yourself as you approach and get ready to be signed on. So what are you guys doing?
Remember, we meet tonight at at the Zan's Emporium. Yeah. Anything useful you find out is there. You two are guards. If I didn't tell you that before, you were drinking, so I'm not sure if you caught that.
I'm not sure I remember. I'm just following.
Owen would have woken up extra early before dawn, tried to clean himself up and look really presentable. He actually would have spent an extra hour to cast one of his spells to summon his familiar by a ritual. And so he now has his Tressim, which is like a winged cat, which is just perched up on his shoulder. And he's going with high hopes to be one of the aides at the library.
Yeah.
And I'm working as a handmaid, right?
That would be what you were under the
decided?
impression of. Yes, that's what you were under the impression of for sure.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I must have been really drunk. I don't remember much at all.
You're gonna be a guard.
Cool.
We're still together in all this.
Hey, Corporal, right on. I was ready together.
You approach as Milton is calling the names of several new hires and giving them their assigned positions that they've apparently been signed on for. You remember this man in his kind of fancy noble clothing and this high-nosed attitude that he gave you before, and he definitely in the corner of his eyes watches as you five kind of stroll in. Corporal Wolf and Brad probably particularly looking a bit maybe not like they're morning people on this particular dawn or whatever, and he kind of gives you guys like a knowing eye, like don't fuck this up. And after he starts calling, he would call out to Midna and say that she has been assigned under Brianna Rels, who is the lead handmaiden or handwoman, and would tell you where to find her. And then he would call out Owen and say that you're answering to Tarn Brillamp in the library. Did we agree that Garen was also going to be a guard, or what did Garen decide that he wanted to be?
I was trying to think of what would be better for finding out information. And I was thinking maybe a manservant person.
All right, so you two will be answering to Brianna Rels then.
Okay.
And then the guards, both Corporal Wolf and Brad Newberry, will be answering to Shell Trumbrel.
I answered to no man.
Except the guy that he just said.
Okay.
All right.
As everyone, the new hires kind of like look at you with a cocked eye. You see Milton's face begin to go red, and he says, "I want everyone to remember that today is your first day, and it is of the utmost importance that you make a very good impression on the Baron and his men. This is a very sought-after position, and any blunders will see your way out the door quicker than you can blink an eye." He stares at you, Brad, in particular. You guys begin to head into the keep. The gate kind of lifted up, and you walk across the moat or whatever and begin to head in. And as you're entered into the main lobby, it is definitely an impressive keep. None of the expenses have been spared in designing this. It's a large cathedral-like lobby as you walk in, with high ceilings and paintings on the walls. Fine basically pottery and paintings, and a big painting of Baroness Helda and Baron Oliver Reinson in the center. As you walk in, there's these two giant spiraling staircases that go up into the center of the room, and there's this massive like story high painting of them both kind of embracing each other. You guys begin to go on to your duties and find out, just basically following the crowd and going about your way. Who wants to be the first one to find their station? Any volunteers?
I'll go first.
All right, so that would be Midna and I guess Garen too. As you begin, you are whisked away to the laundry room is where you eventually make your way, and you see this middle-aged woman with this kind of braid wrapped around her hair in a tight bun that escalates above her head. You see this deep kind of auburn hair with whisks of white in it and a bit of wrinkles to her forehead. She's dressed in servant's clothing, but her uniform seems of the utmost upkeep. And she looks to you both and says, "Oh, good morning. Welcome. What are your names?"
Hello, ma'am. My name is Garen.
My name is Minna.
Well, good morning to you. It seems that you will be the newest batch of new hires. She calls over somebody, and there's a girl that looks like a much younger version of her, who is rather shy and kind of hides behind her mother, looking like she's probably in her maybe early 20s, if not late teens. And she says, "This is my daughter, Sylvia. She is the lead handmaiden over Helda. And here are your uniforms." She hands you your uniforms, and it is of the utmost importance, I'm sure you know, being experienced maidens and men yourselves, that you do not really get in the way of nobles. Your job is to clean and do their biddings without being noticed. Everybody understands that clearly, right?
Yes.
All right.
Definitely.
And she would look to you, Midna, and say that you look like a sweet young girl. I think that we will put you with Sylvia, who oversees Helda. So it'll be
Sure. How do I know where to find her?
Sylvia's right here. This is
Here's her
Oh.
and she will bring you along and show you a day's work. She'll pull you in and say that Helda, the Baroness, is in a particularly sour mood today. So be very careful. If she notices you, it will probably be your last day here.
All right, I'm gonna follow exactly what you do and just stay silent. You show me what to do, and I will follow.
Sylvia puts her hand out, and she just very softly spoken, it's almost like a whisper, says hello, and shows you to your room to get changed into your uniforms. And Garen, you are apparently going to be put on cleaning the washrooms.
Okay.
So as you guys go about your days, what kind of, we're going to go into a skill check here where you guys are going to tell me what kind of skills you're using and what you aim to do with your skills. And we're going to, depending on how well you roll, is how well you're doing your job. So pick a skill that you're proficient in. Using Midna as an example here, you're proficient in Arcana, Investigation, and Perception. You're probably actually supposed to have 2 more, but we didn't get to that actually, so we'll worry about that. But basically, you're going to choose one of those skills that you're proficient in and rationalize to me how you're going to use those skills to be good at what you're doing today.
Okay.
And if you don't have anything and Garen does have anything, Garen, feel free to speak up because
I was just looking, and I think I might use sleight of hand for cleaning the toilets. Because
That's an excellent idea.
All right, so I like that.
I'm definitely looking at my investigation here. I mean, that's kind of why we're here. So I'd really like to befriend Sylvia. She seems really nice. So I feel like as long as I'm, not overwhelming her, I can get along with her really easily and hopefully get some information out of her. So I'm going to say that I'm going to use investigation and just try and pick up on as much as I can and try and, I guess, more specifically find out maybe why the Baroness is in such a foul mood and making everyone's lives miserable right now.
Awesome. And go ahead and both give me a roll and tell me what you roll with that skill.
D20, yes?
Yep.
15.
15 is good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I rolled 15 as well. Oh, actually, sorry. I guess plus 6.
Wait,
so
no. Sorry, 13.
21?
13 and 15. So they're both passes. So neither one of you do a bad
Sorry, was that
job.
supposed to be plus my modifier? Because that'd actually be 21 then.
Yeah, you do exceptionally well. So Garen, you're maybe not the most pleased with the job that you're given and cleaning the toiletries of the keep, although they're not particularly poorly kept, I guess. It's still a shit job. No pun included. And you basically get posted with another manservant, and he says that they always stick us men on these jobs and let the women do all the kind of the better jobs. He's bitching. We always get stuck with the short end of the stick. No one has any respect for a handman. I don't know what a handman would be called. Like the opposite of a handmaiden.
Manservant.
Yeah. And then he basically says that things around here have started to get particularly bad, actually. As of recently, the Baron has kind of changed his demeanor, and he's more reserved and distant than ever. There's constant lineups of people that seek his counsel, and they basically go and complain all day long, and it doesn't even really seem like he is listening. He always is just talking to Bryce. Anything that Bryce says seems to go. It's weird. I don't get it. And this man that you're speaking to is thinking about quitting. It's not worth the money, he says. He thinks that this place is going to go to shit soon, as he's like plunging a toilet in particular. Kind of you're doing your best to avoid any splashing with your roll you end up doing. So
so I don't know. That just seems to be the way around castles. No matter what castle you go, you're probably going to be cleaning a toilet.
yeah, but it was different. It wasn't like this. It doesn't even feel like that long ago. The Baron before he was just more interested in going on hunting trips and enjoying his money, enjoying his beautiful wife. Now it seems like they don't even really talk. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
The Baron and his wife don't even talk? What kind of...
Well,
that?
one of them talks rather loud in particular, at which point, as he says that, we'll go over to Midna and Sylvia. And this girl, she kind of whispers to you as she talks. I'm not actually going to whisper because it just doesn't really make sense. But every time she speaks, it's in a very soft spoken voice. And she is basically...
I'm also whispering back.
Yeah, she basically is telling you that like the best way to do your job is just to look at what Helda is doing and try to think of in advance and have it done for her. If she has to ask for something, then it's already too late, and she'll basically like go around and pull out her chair, make sure her glass is full, and you're kind of like following her around. And as your day goes on with a 21, you catch on pretty quick, and you both are basically just like kind of double teaming and making it so that like as she like needs a refill on her glass, it's already refilled. Her chair is pulled out. The door is open for her, and you guys are doing a particularly good job. She doesn't speak a lot to you, and she says that Helda doesn't like it when we talk. She just prefers us to do what she needs. And as you're going around your day, you the Baroness Helda Reinson, she is a particularly beautiful black-haired woman that always wears her hair down long. It goes past borderlining like to the back of her past her butt even. It's pretty long hair, and it's always like this perfect straight hair. She has these beautiful piercing blue eyes and very youthful kind of skin, and wears these bright blue beautiful dresses that's flowing, very princess looking. And as she goes around, you're serving her at lunch. And there's this long dinner table, basically like your stereotypical noble king's table that's like 30 feet long, even just like ridiculously long. And there's all this food plastered out about it, while as servants and cooks are running and dropping off food. And you see the Baron, who is this man who's supposed to be in his like late 20s, but as you look at him, he looks older. His hair is like this orangish kind of color, but it's starting to fade to white, and he has these freckles on his cheeks and just like big kind of wrinkly cheeks. He looks older than he should, and he sits down at the table and begins to just like twirl his fork at his food and not really eat anything in particular. As you're looking, lunchtime has now come. You've already been working for many hours, and your stomach's starting to grumble, and you see all this delicious food spread out, and he doesn't seem to be like picking at it at all. And you just like, how can this man not be eating this food? and you see the Baroness looking at him in just anger, and she just passionately and spiritedly yells out at him and begins to just like full on yell that this is going to be another lunch where we're not going to be talking to each other. Is this just what it's come to? You can't bear to even ask how my mornings went. And she just starts going off on him, like just yelling at the Baron over how he's not paying attention at all. And like, he doesn't even care. The town's like, everyone's mad and just going on and on. And the Baron just seems to nod and not really pay attention at all. It's a very strange thing that you kind of witness. Do you do anything in particular?
I think for now I'm just gonna kind of hang out where I am, and because I'm doing well, I think I'm just gonna pay attention for now. Is it because I rolled so high? Could I possibly ask Sylvia a question without being noticed?
Yeah, you can say as you're bringing food back, you can whisper something to her as you're heading back into the kitchen, and you see that the chef and all his cooks are like mid lunch service. Kitchen's really hot, and the head chef is kind of yelling out orders that they need more roast beef, even though you just like left the table and like the Baron has barely even touched it.
All right. So what's the elephant in the room? Seems like there's a lot of tension in here, but it seems like everyone knows what's going on but me.
She whispers to you, well, as of lately, the Baroness and the Baron, they haven't been really getting along. He, according to Helda, or the Baroness, the good lady, she thinks that he is very withdrawn, and never speaks to him.
He
Or
just
her.
doesn't say anything? He just sits there and takes us every day?
Yes, this is how it's been for the past few months.
This is craziness. God, you cut the tension here with a butter knife.
Yeah, as you hear that, you hear some clattering being heard from the other room, and as you rush back out, you see that the Baroness has apparently had enough with this stone of a husband that gets better conversations out of rocks than him, and she has like thrown her wine across the table and smattered it on him, and he's just still kind of just sitting there. He looks at the wine and grabs a rag and begins to pat it off and says, I hope you enjoyed the lunch, kind of monotoned, and really like he didn't even really hear a word that she was saying. And she storms out and leaves the room and just basically is like, ask him if I had a good lunch. I can't believe this. And she slams the door, to which she says, we better hurry up after her.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we should definitely follow right after her.
Yeah, and you guys begin to follow along. Now, as for the two, who wants to go next in there? Do the guards want to take it, or does the librarian want to do their thing?
Either way.
All right.
Guards will go.
Guards will go. You begin to head to the buttresses of the outer walls as you're met with Shell Tumbrel. And she is a darker skinned woman who wears her hair in kind of these dreadlocks, but they're all tied back into this ponytail. And she has these dark piercing brown eyes, and she's wearing the Baron's men armor. It's basically like half plate, and she has a shield and a pike, and on the shield is the chunk of azurite, kind of actually, instead of painted on there's just actually a chunk of azurite welded into her shield. And there's a lineup of men, and you guys are fumbling to get your gear on and line up in formation as she calls the new recruits to attention. Everyone kind of snaps to attention, and it's a bit sloppy. You can tell it's the first day, and she begins to walk and say, listen up, you are all now part of the Baron's men. This is an honor that many people of Oakney's Hold would wish that they would be able to take part in. The Baron's men have watched after the Baron and his family for years and years, and she begins to go on this spiel about how it's such an honor for you guys, and never once has anything bad happened to the keep while the Baron's men were on duty. It will be expected that you guys keep the utmost of attention and watch after the Baron and his family and all of the other patrons in this castle, making sure that nothing happens and always keeping a watchful eye. It's better off that you're not seen until you're needed. He begins to give out duties, to which you guys are first told you're going to be on watch duty, patrolling the outer rim of the castle on the kind of buttresses of the battlements and keeping an eye. This is told to you as you're dispersing that this is actually a rather boring job because nothing other than a stray tomato lately has been hurled at the castle in the over the centuries. Apparently the civilians are getting a bit rowdy, you're told, but go ahead and tell me what skills you guys are using to make sure that your day is uneventful.
Dan, go ahead.
I'll be using deception. I'll be introducing myself as Frank Schmetzler. He'll look like a very upstanding citizen. Through my criminal background, I'll just be utilizing the fact that I can mix in and kind of cohabitate with people, but I'll be seeming very professional, very upfront, ready to serve, mom kind of thing. And I'm going to be pulling that off to hopefully get a better position within the castle.
Awesome. And what is as you announce yourself as Corporal Wolf, she gets up in your face and says, "Excuse me? What did you say your name is?"
Yes, Corporal Wolf of the 7th Battalion of Tempest.
Cuts you off and says, "That's Private Wolf while you're here.
Yes, ma'am.
You swine.
Just
You have no right to
strict
call yourself
military.
that position." And yeah, she goes kind of drill sergeant-y on you.
I'll take it. Fucking like straight erect, standing, taking everything she throws at me.
Yeah, you've been through this before. It's kind of annoying that you have to go back to this basics kind of thing.
Nope, it's bringing back old memories. I'm just getting right back into the routine.
And what kind of skills are you using to pay the bills?
I'm actually just going to go ahead and use perception and try and play this straight laced and honest as possible.
All right.
I'm just going to keep weathered eye out, looking for any criminal activities or any mischief going on, and
Yeah, let me
do
know.
my best to be the best guard.
Let me know what you roll.
Let's see, 11.
I got an 18, Chris.
Yes, nice.
15 for mine.
Excellent. 2 passes. So we're going to say that as you guys are on duty, you actually make a impression on Shell, or as she prefers to be called, is Captain Tumbrel. And we'll say that there's basically like a rogue civilian that was a bit disgruntled and needed to be escorted out. And you guys were the ones that kind of dragged him out as he was basically yelling that his family is now bankrupt because of the way the Baron is running this town, and it is your guys' job to drag and throw him to the curb. To which Captain Tumbrel comes out and says that you guys are actually impressing her. You guys really have what it takes to be Baron's men for sure. Tonight, I'm going to give you a better duty. You're going to be on guard duty at the Baroness's bed chambers. As she looks in your eyes, I imagine it's probably maybe Brad's eyes that light up or something. She gets in his face and pulls him in and says, "Listen here, you swine. If you even so much as step foot in her chamber without her asking for permission, it will be the last day you see here. You got that?"
Wouldn't even think of it, Mom.
That's right. And she lets you go and says, soon as you finish your shift here, which you've already been working for many hours, you'll go and relieve the 2 guards on duty outside the bedchambers of Baroness Helda. And remember, only enter if you're called.
Yes, Mom. Ready to serve, Mom.
And then she lets you guys go. And basically, you guys get the same kind of spiel. As you're walking around, it's a pretty tense and stressful environment in the Baron, because anytime the Baroness is around, you hear her just like going off and complaining and screaming that her husband is estranged to her now, and that how can she be expected to live in these conditions with a husband that doesn't even speak to her. This is bullshit. And basically where she goes, it's just this toxicity, I guess you can say. And as you walk around, you finish up your duty, and there's a town's council that is being held as people are lined up and complaining to the Baron and Bryce and Tavares and Milton about how the town is in disarray and that we need to straighten things up. We've fired all of the men at the refinery and hired in outsiders that don't even really know what they're doing. The taxes are continually raised to a price where the vendors now have to sell for higher prices, which no one can really meet the price of for what is earned here. And every time these complaints are brought forth to the Baron, he just kind of leans into Chamberlain Bryce, who, as you look across the room, you see his table of councils is the Baron, who I've already described, Tavares, who you've also already met, and then Chamberlain Bryce. This is the first time that we come into vision of him. And as everyone else are sitting around the table wearing the colors of blue, you see Chamberlain Bryce, which is this borderlining overweight man with this kind of gray hair that is just combed over the back of his head. He has just these sunken eyes that look like they're unimpressed and exhausted at all times. And as he's wearing this bright red kind of cloak, this noble finery clothing, you see every time a complaint is brought forth to the Baron just kind of leans in and whispers and back and forth to Bryce. And then Bryce whispers something back to him. And then Bryce just basically gives off the words. The Baron isn't really even speaking for himself. It seems like Bryce is doing all the talking, and he'll basically dismiss every complaint that the people at the refinery before, the outsiders, weren't up to standards. They were doing a whole bunch wrong, and ever since then, the output of the refinery has been better. If you want the jobs, then you guys are going to have to rise to the occasion. To which that just like upsets people even more, and that's why you have to throw out the people and basically break up this fight. It seems like the council is not really giving in to any of the complaints of the townsfolk, and you can just see the tensions are even high here. And anyone that's been from a town before that has had trouble with ruling see that like what do I want to say, that things are on very like eggshells right now. You can see that the townsfolk have almost had enough, and if something's not done about it soon, troubles might get worse than a couple of people chucking tomatoes and whatnot. But nonetheless, you guys make your impression. Now, last but not least, as we've had 4 successes, we come up to Owen, who you make your way to the library, eager and awaiting to see what this Baron Keep's library is like. You're walking through, and it's like a labyrinth of corridors and hallways and staircases. And as you're looking at this impressive kind of keep, just taking it all in, watching the guards go by and the servants, it's probably all pretty impressive to you. And you can only imagine what the library is going to look like. And as you push in to the library doors, getting ready to just take in whatever you see, you're met with the face of an old man whose entire face is shrunken and wrinkled in. He looks like he must be like 92 years old, if not older. And he has this kind of what's this cane that he uses to walk around, and he's wearing these draping long kind of blue robes. And he looks to you, pushing his glasses up to his face, and says, "Who are you?"
My name is Owen, sir. I'm the new librarian.
Oh, go away! You're not no librarian. I'm the librarian.
No, I'm your assistant. I'm here to help you.
What? I don't need no assistant. I've been the librarian here for decades.
And it looks like you've done a very good job, sir.
He begins to sneeze. Achoo! What is that on your shoulders? Is that an animal? Have you brought a cat in here? I am deadly allergic to cats.
Oh no!
He sneezes again.
This is my familiar. I practice some magic. You see, this is Togo.
You think you're a magic user?
Well, in training.
You look like no magic user to me. And he kind of hobbles in closer. And as he does so, it's literally like he takes one step forward and then has to like step up to his first step. Like he kind of just moves 2 steps at a time as he comes in close. And he says, read the sign. And as he points, there's like this long list of rules. And he points down to one that says no pets allowed.
Oh, well, it's not a normal pet. If it's that much trouble, I can dismiss him and summon him later.
It is much trouble. Do it now.
Okay. All right, Togo. I'll get you later. And then he snaps his fingers and dismisses his animal companion.
He says, I can't believe you would bring an animal in here. Into a library. What do you think this is? A zoo? This is the library. This is where the Baron's books are kept. This is the best library in all of Oakney's Hold. And as he turns around and shows you to it, it's literally like 3 shelves of books. And as you're like eagerly waiting to see this library, your shoulders just kind of sink as you see like maybe 50 books in total.
Yeah, Owen visibly looks a little crestfallen and underwhelmed.
And he says, well, first things first, you're going to need to read up on the policies of being an assistant's library. The last one I had, it must have been 40-some years ago. He didn't even last an hour. And he, somewhere here is the policy. And he begins to pull out a paper, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. And before long, he just begins to stack up. This is the rules that he's made for you to be an assistant's library. I expect to have you had to have this memorized verbatim in the next hour. And
yes, sir. I'll get right on that here.
And what kind of skills are you using in particular to please Tarn Brillamp? His name is.
I feel like I almost want to just use insight to kind of like not bother reading the stuff and just kind of tell what he's gonna say.
Right.
And just that way save myself the hassle of having to go through all that.
All right, let me know what you roll.
I rolled a 10 total.
Yeah, so your insight basically is that this man is looking for any reason at all just to give you shit. And no matter what you seem to do, one minute he tells you to put books over there, and as you put books over there, he tells you that that's not the spot the books go. And you have committed the first strike. He says that he's going to go to Milton about you and make sure that you will never be a librarian in this keep again. Although you've been warned about that like 13 times in the span of 2 hours. So you don't just really know if he's just the senile old grumpy man or if you're actually in trouble. But as you're going around looking at the books, to your dismay, there doesn't really seem to be anything interesting in the library besides multiple books about mining. Seems like most of the library is just about copper, mines, individuals, running refineries. You don't really see anything interesting, and you do not have an enjoyable morning by any means. Is there anything else you wish to do?
It's just a very bad day at work.
Yeah, exactly. Tarn gives you a run for your money, and you begin to wonder if you're going to make it through the night's end without being released. And you just wonder how your friends are doing. And the afternoon begins to go by, and Wolf, Private Wolf now, and Brad, you officially, after working about 6 hours of the morning shift, begin to head over to the Baroness's bed chambers, where you relieve 2 guards, and they.
Can I save a reaction?
Go ahead.
Can I save a reaction if the Baroness does come by?
Yeah. What do you want to reactionary? Or you just want to tell me that you're reacting?
But yeah, like I just when she comes up, I'm just gonna be like putting forward like the best. Like I'm gonna give her I'm gonna give her the sexy eyes.
Okay.
Gosh damn it.
You ready those sexy eyes. There's actually, as you relieve the guards, they tell you that She is in a particular mood today. Whatever you do, just don't interact.
Give her the sexy eyes.
And as you are now standing there, one on one side of the door and one on the other, Brad, you notice that there's a mirror across the hall, and you're just kind of like looking at it, practicing your sexy eyes, and maybe just doing like a "Hey, how are you?" kind of thing, as Wolf is standing there witnessing that.
A rock solid statue, just straight ahead, back against the wall, and watching the door and trying to be the best guard he can.
Yeah. You after about
Yeah, I'm just going to.
Go ahead.
Am I as laggy on your end as I am on my end?
Your voice is coming through clear. What's happening on your end?
It's just breaking up a lot.
Maybe try doing a quick refresh, maybe.
Yeah, I think I might. Yeah, I want to make sure that I am definitely at poise. Like I'm definitely being a good guard. I'm still putting on that whole front. But if she comes by, I'm just gonna give that whole friendly little, nod and no words or anything like that. So I'm gonna cycle out. I'll be right back.
All right, I will go to then, and as hours kind of pass by, we'll flash back over to we'll actually go back to Garen, who, as you're finishing up a long day of toilet cleaning, and then you're put in the dish pit to wash the dishes after dinner, you are told finally that it is your job to bring fresh linens to the Baroness's bedchamber, and she'll need fresh linens for a night's sleep. And you're basically just like, you're given one sheet and you're like, all right, that's normal. And then you're given another sheet and you're like, that's cool. And then another sheet and a pillowcase, and then another pillowcase, and then before long you just have this mountain of linens that you're like, how the hell can any bed require this many sheets? You begin to wonder. And you're told to just hurry up and get to the bedchamber before she's there. And you begin to head out into the hallway. And as we're waiting for Dan to load in, we will also pan back over to Tarn and Owen. And is Owen there?
Owen is taking care of little Owens.
Little Owen. Well, little Owen is also told that the Lady Baroness has been reading up on mining lately. She's apparently taken an interest. Tarn says that she wants to know what could be so possibly interesting about mining that her husband has given up any kind of social interactions with her. So Owen, it is your job to go pick up the lady's books that she is surely done with by now and bring them back into the library. And as you head out, you bump into Garen, who is a mountain of bed sheets right now and doesn't seem to know where he is going. He's just kind of walking around and about to walk into a statue, it looks like.
Okay. Hey, watch out.
I can't watch if you can't tell.
Here.
Where are you going?
Where am I going?
Baroness's chambers.
The Baroness's chambers.
Oh, me too. Do you know where it's at?
I don't know.
Yeah, neither one of you know, and now you're standing around and you're basically like in this intersection of hallways, and as you look, each other hallway almost seems like it's an intersection of hallways, and you're just like, where is the bedchamber? None of you even think to have asked like where, having such like a long and basically like demeaning day, considering you guys are hoping to be like adventurers of sorts. And as you're looking around, give me a survival check to see if you can.
Perception or survival?
Yeah, both of those work for me actually.
Okay, I'm gonna do perception because my survival is lower than my perception.
Mine's +0 either way.
5.
18 plus 2?
There you go, 20.
Perception, yeah, plus 2. 20.
Yeah, you begin to head you were paying a particular attention, and you remember hearing that it's up the staircase and then around left on the first corridor and then make a couple of rights, and you begin heading that way. And as you tell Garen to or Owen to follow you along, you take a spin up a couple of staircases and begin heading down the hallway when you hear a set of footsteps, and coming around the corner is Bryce and Milton.
Move to the side. Someone's coming. I move to the side to be unopposing, and wait for them to just pass by. Can I listen to try to hear what they're saying?
Yeah, you can hear Milton going on about how there is even more people requesting counsel tomorrow at the town council's meeting, and today went really bad. And if we don't at least try to humor the townsfolk, then we're gonna have anarchy on our hands, and we need to do something about this. Bryce, surely you know that we can't just let things stay the way they are. To which Bryce kind of coldly replies that being just a entry-level steward, what does he know about governing a town? And that the townspeople are upset because they're not getting their way like they have before. Now that the Baron has decided to actually watch over the town, they're upset that they don't get their way. Well, that's too bad. And then as he's walking by you, he stops. And he looks over at the pile of sheets. And the newly appointed librarian and says, I do not recognize these new recruits, Milton. And Milton looking at you guys just looking at you what the hell are you guys doing here? Even though you're literally just doing your job. He's looking at you like you've done something wrong. And he's just oh, yes, this is the new handmaiden and assistant librarian. I don't even remember their name. There's no worry about wondering about them. They're just clearly on some kind of job, doing something, right? You guys are doing something.
Yes, sir. On the way to make the bed.
To which Bryce cuts you off and says, I do not care what they are doing. Just see that they're not in my way next time.
I was standing on the side out of the way.
And he begins to walk away as you go to say that, Milton puts his finger on your lips or something, or just silences you. You definitely weren't in this guy's way, but apparently just even crossing his path has annoyed him. And Milton is giving you a look do not say anything. Do you say anything?
No, I didn't say anything.
All right.
I'm telling you that I was out of the way, so okay.
Yeah, he walks away and he calls out to Milton and says, see that our new employees are actually doing work that we are paying them for and not just wandering around the keep. To which Milton is, yes, Chamberlain Bryce, I will make sure that they are worthy employees. To which Bryce begins to walk away, and Milton is just what the hell are you guys doing?
And I'm going to make the bed, and I start walking off.
Absolutely.
Delivering this, and then I chase after.
Absolutely. And then he shakes his head and kind of just lets you walk away. Midna, you are in suit. Are in pursuit following the handmaiden, and after having a day of basically sewing and tea with some ladies where she spent the entire time just gossiping about how terrible her husband is to all the other noble ladies. You hear stories, basically the same kind of thing, that she is terribly upset that her husband no longer seems passionate about their marriage, that she gets nothing out of him. They don't even speak. They haven't even so much as kissed in weeks, or she's losing count. And she thinks that something is wrong. Perhaps she has found another woman, to which all the nobles there are basically just appeasing her and listening, and just no one is as beautiful as you in the city. Blah, blah, blah. It's a terribly boring day, but after long, she's had enough of it, and she begins to head back to her chambers. And as you're walking ahead, you pass by two guards standing guard and see Corporal Wolf and Brad standing guard at the door, to which you rush up and open up the massive double wooden door, each of you, Sylvia on one side and you on the other side, pushing into her chamber, to which Brad, you see this beautiful black-haired, long flowing, blue-eyed baroness begin to walk by, and as she is walking by, she's staring at the floor with anger in her face. Her face is kind of scrunched up and she's in a hurry. Give me a performance check at disadvantage for your sexy ass.
Performance at disadvantage, huh?
Yeah. It seems like today, if you're intuitive, that the Baroness is not in the mood for sexy eyes from a local new recruit.
First one's 21.
Yeah.
Oh, second one's 9. Second one's 9.
Second one's
so
9.
He, with the disadvantage is 9.
Yeah. So yeah, you stand up to attention, snapping up. You puff your chest out, and you look at the mirror one last time, giving it like a sharp wink. And as you look to the Baroness and give like your best, whatever it is, like eye batter, you just meet the corner of Wolf's gaze in his peripherals as he's standing at attention. And before you know it, the Baroness has come and gone. It's like you didn't even exist. She just walked by you as if you were.
Did you see that one, man? Yeah, she knows where I am. Yeah, she'll be back. Yeah.
Shut up.
Okay.
And then as the Baroness goes by, I slug him in the shoulder and then immediately go back to attention.
Yeah. It was you're shocked that you're pretty sure that Brad like even mumbled something under his breath like how's it going? Or something like that. But luckily for you, the Baroness was just not even like, you guys didn't even exist. You might as well have been statues standing there. Midna, you now enter the room, and the first thing that it opens up to is like an entryway chamber where it is just shelves upon shelves of jewelry, or not jewelry, sorry, like clothing and cloth, and just basically all this kind of it's like a massive closet. And then she pushes forward to another set of double doors, which, as you're already closing the first set of double doors on the two guards, wondering what the hell your friends are doing here, you already realize like you're behind and you got to run to the other door, which Sylvia is already at opening, and you push up into her bed chamber. And in her bed chamber is this absolutely enormous, like 2 king-size beds stacked together, beds with these massive wooden posters that have these frilly sheets, and it's an absolutely beautiful room. There's this massive stained glass window, which in the center of it is clear and looks out into a beautiful sun setting on the river view. You see a wooden desk that looks masterfully carved with 4 tables around it, and just shelves upon shelves of noble clothing. And it's just the room of a princess. And the Baroness runs into the room and flings herself down, and you hear her jewelry kind of clanging around her neck as she sinks into the bed and begins to just kind of cry to herself. You're just living there staring at Sylvia. What to do? Sylvia has already turned around and she's going over and she's filling up this kettle with hot water, and begins to go into another room and start to draw a bath for the lady. And you're just kind of left into the room. She comes back out and looks at you and gives you like an eye, like you should already be doing something, but you're not.
Okay, I'm just gonna walk over to the first thing I see in the room, just kind of go over to the bed, start making the bed, cleaning up, just going around, tidying, not looking her in the eye at all, just keeping my head down.
You go over to the bed which she's laying on, and you begin to like tidy it.
Oh yeah, shit, I forgot she was laying on the bed. So yeah, I'm not gonna go like right up to the bed. I'm just gonna kind of like stay around the edges of the room. Pick up
As
her
you,
clothes that she threw on the floor when she walked in.
yeah, absolutely. As you pick up the clothes and you just kind of have it scrumped up in your arms there, and you're looking around for a place to stash it, there is like a shelf. You just kind of push it in, and you hear her stop crying, and then she looks up, and she looks at you in anger and is like, "What are you doing, you buffoon? Why have you not started brushing my hair? My hair should be being brushed right now. Can you not see that it is a mess?"
Right, I'm just gonna pick up a hairbrush and go over. I'm not really gonna say anything or start a conversation here. I'm just gonna pick up a brush, go over, and start brushing her hair, taking out all the braids and pins and stuff from the
As
day.
you start brushing her hair and doing that, her hair is literally pristinely straight. There's not a knot in it or anything. It's just like perfect. And you're brushing her hair like, what the fuck does this woman need her hair brushed for? But nonetheless, she begins to talk to herself about what a terrible day this is. She calls out to Sylvia to take her jewelry and put it away. Sylvia comes rushing out and undoes this beautiful golden necklace with a big chunk of azurite in the center of it, and begin heading over to this shelf. And as you're just kind of brushing her hair, she slaps you off and says, "What are you doing? My hair is fine. Like, it's brushed. How long are you going to brush my hair for?"
All right, I'm just gonna back away and just stop doing what I'm doing. I don't really want to interact with her and start a conversation. I feel like she just wants someone to yell at. So
Smart. As you're doing that, you hear a bone-wrenching scream from the corner of Sylvia.
okay, I'm gonna, like, turn around and see what the hell's going on.
You look over, and her hand is in the jewelry box, and blood is gushing out of her wrist as she's almost elbow deep in this thing. And as you look over, the jewelry box is rumbling and shaking, and you see as it opens up on its own accord and chomp down again that there is teeth on this jewelry box. And then suddenly tendrils like legs for its foot begin to sprout up, and then eyes become popping out on tendrils on each side of the jewelry box, and it wraps around her neck and pulls her in and chomps down on her as Sylvia falls limp. And the Baroness sees this and just screams out in horror.
Baroness, do you need us?
Everyone right in there.
She is just screaming, "Oh my God, what is going on?"
Bum rush through
I'm
the
gonna
door.
everyone in.
detect magic really
Everyone
quick here and see if I can figure out what is coming from this jewelry box, if I can.
Absolutely. So at that point, and then also, I guess I left this out. Garen and Owen, you hear the screams from down the hallway also. And as you come around the corner, you see two guards just basically kicking open the door and rushing in, to which I will get everyone to roll initiative.
I don't know about you and your initiative here.
Oh, fine.
14.
19.
14 on Garen, 19 on Owen,
6.
6 on Brad, who's still giving the sexy eyes. Corporal Wolf,
That's Frank Schmetzler.
22.
22. And what did
I
Midna
have
roll?
many names here.
What's the modifier? Is that your proficiency?
Dexterity.
Oh, all right, 16.
Okay, so Corporal Wolf is the first to act, and as you hear this Baroness scream, you kick open the door. The first thing that you see is this entryway of just like shelves upon shelves of random noble shit, like pottery and goblets, and like where's the Baron? And you look around, and there's just another set of double doors in front of you. She screams out that there is what is this horrible monster? Get it! Get it! Get it! She's screaming to Midna, and Midna, she starts to push you in front of it. Wolf, though, what are you doing?
I'll bum rush through the doors and just try and see what's attacking.
Yeah, you burst open into the door, and you open up into this 4 40-foot by 30-foot rectangular room, and you see in the northwestern corner on the bed is the Baroness, who has grabbed by the shoulders Midna, who is like being shoved towards the other side of the room, to which you see a servant girl laying on the ground as a chest of jewelry is tromping on her, and like tendrils and whatnot are flying out of this thing's mouth now.
Yeah, I'll charge straight towards it and attack it.
All right, you charge towards it. Go ahead and attack. You can actually. Ooh, that's probably. Let me just double check here. How much movement do you have?
30.
Oof. You would actually have to dash to get to it.
Okay, I will instead just cast Toll the Dead at it.
All right.
And it's DC 12 Wisdom save.
Okay. It makes it.
Let's see. Here's or 12 crack damage.
I believe it's no damage on a fail.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It takes nothing.
All right.
So, in that case, then I'll just whatever movement I can use, just interpose myself between the monster and the Baroness.
All right. Owen, you are up now.
So Owen is going to. Can he get inside the room at least, just within the double doors?
So you are down the hallway a bit. With a dash, you could probably get into the antechamber. But honestly, not unless you have some kind of finagling that you can do, make it fully into the room.
Okay. I'm just gonna start running, and not knowing what's going on, I'm gonna cast Mage Armor on myself.
All right.
And then I don't think there's any bonus actions that I can do to be productive. So I'll just get as close to the room as I can with my movement.
All right. You are in, and then you see as you come around the corner, you run into this antechamber, and you see that Wolf is standing there and channeling a spell to which he is imposing. You see the screaming cries of the Baroness. Whatever's going on in that room seems like chaos, and their weapons drawn. Next up is the chest of jewelry, which its legs were these short, stubby wooden things. But as this thing seems to be animating to life, these stumpy legs turn into like tentacle-like feet, and it begins to just crawl across the room. Its jewelry box mouth, now full of sharp, jagged teeth, and this big flowing tongue that comes out of it, begins to stomp across the room, and it's going to go towards Wolf. And Wolf, as it comes lumbering towards you, it is going to take one of these pseudopods that are now generated out from it and try to wrap it around you. It rolls a 14 to hit.
Miss.
It misses.
Ha.
That is it for it on this opportunity. Now, Midna, you are now standing in the room. The Baroness is screaming for you to do something. Save her.
I'm gonna try casting Firebolt at it.
That seems like a good option.
I'm not sure what to roll for that.
D20 plus your spellcasting modifier, so +6.
12.
12. A bolt of fire flies across the room, generating from your hand, smoke now billowing from the palm of your hand, and slams into this chest that is just about to jump towards Corporal Wolf. But you blast it with fire, knocking it back. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Sorry, what's my damage?
For Firebolt, I believe it's a D8. Double checking. It's been so long. D10.
So, D10?
Yeah, D10.
That's gonna be 6.
6 damage.
Oh, 9. Sorry, no, that's 9.
Nice. Slams into this thing, knocking it back as it growls out in pain. You now see that the outskirts of this jewelry box, which is just seeming like growing larger and larger by the moment, has this big burn mark on the ornate kind of woodwork. Garen, you're now up as you see Owen running out into the to where the screams are coming from. What do you do?
I have cunning action, so I take that opportunity to get as far in as I can. Is there a possibility for me to do an attack on it?
A ranged attack with your cunning action. If you you dash on in, and you can just, now that it's basically come across the doorway and is trying to attack Corporal Wolf, you have line of sight on it. If you have a ranged attack, you're not in melee with it.
I do, but I don't have the ability to go into. I have a short bow, but I don't. If I do that, do I get disadvantage because he's in combat with him already?
No, you don't.
Okay. Okay, then can I go ahead and try my short bow at it?
Yeah.
Is there a possibility of me hitting the Baroness is behind, or is she out of the way?
That'd be one hell of a shot. She's not even really in your line of sight. You basically just looking down this double door, and there's this rogue jewelry box that's now like growing knee high, trying to chomp down on Wolf.
Okay, can I do my? I feel like a curicry would be better, but yeah, we'll do the bow.
All right, go for it. You pull back your bow and draw forth a bolt or an arrow. 10 misses. Yeah. It clanks forth on the floor and kind of ricochets into the room, not really doing much in the form of hurting this thing. Okay. Anything else? I'm assuming since you bonus action in action, I don't have anything else.
Anything else?
Brad, what the heck are you doing?
You ready for this, man?
Oh yeah, lay it on me.
Okay, so before Frank Schmetzler even enters the room, he's just gonna sit out in the hallway. He's gonna kind of bounce on the balls of his feet a couple of times and shake his shoulders and shake his arms, and he's gonna say to himself, "Okay, stay cool, don't go crazy, don't be an idiot, just relax, pull off the roll." And okay, so I'm gonna run in 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna whip the bow off my back.
Yep.
And I am going to fire a bow at the box while surveying the room and trying to figure out what in the fuck is actually happening. So that's a 15 with the longbow to the box.
15 hits the jewelry box.
And that is only 4 points of damage.
4 points of damage.
At which point, I am going to action surge, realizing the intensity in the room and that this box is going after my friend. And I am going to run towards the. I believe that means that I have my movement back as well.
I think it only gives you an extra action. So you can action dash again, I believe, and get into melee with it, or you can just attack again.
All right, then I'll action dash and get into melee with it, and I'll basically attack the box, and I'll unarmed strike it, and then I'll grapple it.
Your action surge action is spent dashing, so unless you can bonus action.
I thought it gave me a whole nother turn. Okay, that's cool. Then I'll just grapple it if I can.
That would be an action also, unless you have a means to
really?
grapple bonus action, which I don't think you do.
Yeah, only if I'm able to actually strike at it.
But you are now in melee with this thing, so at least you're backing up.
I guess not. I just kind of run up beside it and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah, you now both of you are flanking on this thing, helping out Corporal Wolf now. The jewelry box actually is going to take another action at the end of initiative to attack. Seemingly going quicker than you were expecting. You guys thought you like surrounded this thing, and you run into the room, and you're just basically going back and forth with Wolf, like, what the hell is going on? And he like shrugs, like points at the jewelry box, which has come to life. And as you're thinking about like jumping on it or hitting it, its pseudopods start to fly out, and it is going to try to grapple Wolf. So go ahead and make me a contested grapple check, Mr. Wolf. And you got to beat a natural 20. So good luck, my friend. All right.
I didn't beat that.
I'm assuming those weren't middle fingers of joy as this thing.
I mean, it's a 23.
23? You almost did win, but no, 25 beat you.
Gosh, damn.
You go to push back on this thing, but the tentacles kind of wrap around your arms, and then you shove it back. But as you do, another one just comes around your neck and then starts to pull you in. As you now are indeed grappled, you are in grapple with this thing, and you are now up. Actually,
Box.
Awesome. Okay, so I just have 0 speed. That doesn't matter. I'm cool with that. All right, so it's grappled me and made Hulk angry. So I am going to swing at it with my greatsword using Great Weapon Master.
all right.
And that is going to be. Do I get advantage because we're flanking it?
Negatory.
Okay, that is going to be a 12 to hit.
A 12, I believe, hits this jewelry box. It is just a jewelry box after all. So yes, you do hit it.
All right, so I get 2d6 plus 10 plus another 3. And 23 for the first hit.
Dang, that's a lot. Nice.
23.
Yeah, so Great Weapon Master gives me plus 10 to damage.
Hot damn. Yeah, you bloody this thing as you. What is the weapon you're wielding?
Greatsword.
Greatsword. You just like as it's choking you, you just slam your greatsword down into the head of this thing and just splinter forth the lid, basically almost in two.
Is it still up?
Yes, it's bloodied.
All right, so I'm going to use my War Priest ability, which lets me attack it again. I'm going to do Great Weapon Master one more time. That's not as good. So I'm going to go ahead and use Guided Strike as well, which gives me a plus 10 to my roll, and that'll be an 18 to hit.
Yeah, that's going to do it.
And then since this is my last hit, I'm going to pump a Divine Favor into it for 1d4 extra. So 6, 9, 19, 22.
22. Hot damn. Yeah, you're beasting on this thing. And again, you swing down on it again with Define Fury, and you borderline almost splinter this thing. It seems to be barely hanging on. I forgot that I misread its ability. It actually damaged you when it grappled you, so you're supposed to take 6 damage.
I will take it. Like
But nonetheless, this thing literally is like almost split in two now as Owen is up and has vision on it.
So
finish it.
Is the lady still screaming?
Yeah, she is kind of just drowning out the room as there's the sounds of combat, bolts of fire, and the sounds of wood on sword. The only thing that can really be heard is her just screaming out over and over again, just kind of like on loop now. She just keeps on doing the same bone shrilling shriek over and over again.
So Owen is gonna just kind of pull out some more sand from his belt pouch and just kind of throw it at her, saying "sleep," and he's gonna make her shut up.
All right, she is like a commoner, so even if you rolled all ones on your D5, I'm pretty sure she would still be asleep. So she is sleeping.
Okay, so she shuts up.
Yep.
I still have an action, so I am out of range and I don't have very many attacks.
Now I believe sleep, unless you have a means to do something fancy, is an action.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna use my movement action and actually go back towards the bed and kind of put myself in between the mimic and her, so I'm closer to the bed.
Yeah, and as the sand kind of disperses, actually, interestingly enough, Minna would have been caught in that too, but we'll just say that we won't get to the finer things of that. I don't think you actually probably could have put them both to sleep. Let's roll it just in case. Roll 5d8.
Sorry, but
Nap time.
Yeah, because Minna might actually go to sleep also.
Is it 5d8?
Do I roll a d8?
No, he just has to roll HP, and the first thing is 5 HP goes to Lady Helda, and then if there's enough 16. So how much HP do you have, Midna?
17.
You're fine. You don't fall asleep. Although you do feel woozy for a bit. You look behind you now, and then you just see as the Baroness is just pushing on your shoulder. She suddenly is like this sparkling like bits of sand kind of rest on her pillow. She just like hypnotized sinks into her bed, hitting the pillows. You shake it off as you see Owen posture up beside you. Next up is the jewelry box, which now that it has our good buddy Wolf in its pseudopods, it is going to chomp down on you and do a total of 11 damage.
There's no attack roll for that?
Nope, it just succeeds.
Fuck that. I'm good. I got one left.
You see it just like it like pulls you in by the neck, and like you just see a maw of teeth that it's almost split in half, but now it's like two separate maws of this jewelry box are coming at you at the same time, and you just duck, and it bites into both your shoulders as you yell out in pain, begging for somebody to finish this off. Midnight, you're now up. You see that Corporal Wolf is now like pulled into this thing and being chomped on from both sides as it almost split into two.
She said BRB.
Oh, BRB. All right, we will go to Garen instead then. And
holding her action.
Can I take? Okay, I don't need my short bow. Can I drop the short bow? Pull out the key.
Yeah. So as long as you drop it on the floor, like don't sheath it, then you can pull out your weapon.
Yeah, I know that much. And can I use my key to try to cut the part? Wait. Was he being grappled, or was there something that was holding him?
The pseudopods of this jewelry box are wrapped around him and pulling him in, and now the thing that's almost split into two, almost dead, is now chomping at him from two different angles, basically, as it hangs on by a thread.
Can I cut the part that's like grabbing him?
Yeah, let's see if you can. You can certainly try.
That's what I'm gonna try with. Okay, big dice, big numbers. 15.
Mm-hmm. Your sneak attack goes off, and since this thing literally has 1 HP, how about you describe to me what it looks like as you finish it off?
Well, I guess I'm aiming for the part that's grabbing him. I don't quite know what's going on.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. There's a lot of like tentacles and jewelry box, mouths and blood, and.
But as I'm like trying to cut the part that gets him, my sword kind of like goes sideways into like the main jewelry box face, and like it busts the lock open and swings the lid off of the box and just breaks into a bunch of pieces.
Absolutely.
Jewelry goes falling all over the floor.
Yeah, and it chops off into two different pieces and begins to just wither and squeal out in a dying pain of some aberration-like beast that you have no clue how it came into existence. And then suddenly it just turns into just like this cut in half, half bestial, half wooden jewelry box of horrors as Wolf pulls himself out and just tears off the pseudopod around his neck. You guys are now left in this room looking at each other like, what the fuck is going on? What do you do?
There's a lady that has blood. Is she alive? Can we go check on her?
You run over to Sylvia, who is lying on the ground in a pool of blood.
Can we, like, is she alive? Can we help her?
You can make a medicine check to see if she is alive.
I suck at medicine.
So long as we're out of initiative, Owen's gonna run over to Wolf actually and be like, "Dude, are you okay? Look at your arms. There's so much blood."
Calm down, son. It's only a flesh wound.
Walk it off.
I will hobble over to Sylvia and check and see if she's still alive.
Yeah, so being a cleric, as you come up behind Garen, I just rolled her death saving throws, and she, I shit you not, rolled a 3 and a natural 1. So he is super fucking dead. And as you see Garen on her knees, or on his knees, like trying to like stop the blood, you just see that like her throat is like literally ripped out. It is a gory mess, and there's 0 chance this poor woman is alive.
I will immediately then take her dead body out into the hallway.
All right.
And just try and get it out of the room.
What's everybody else doing?
Well, I need to also.
Sorry, I'm kind of in shock right now.
She's gonna wake up in a second.
How long till she wakes up?
Like 45 seconds.
Okay, well, we need to clean out the box out of the room, and then you need to get her in her bath.
Brad, get the princess and get her out of the room.
We can't just pretend this didn't happen.
But no, we can't leave her here with blood all over the floor.
Well, she needs to at least call
We'll
the guards.
clean
Like,
this up
where are the
in under a
guards?
minute.
Let's call more
Start
guards.
cleaning up the
We should
blood.
call more guards.
Yeah,
I think
can
we
I
should call more
use
guards.
a spell to help me clean up
Oh,
this?
yeah.
everything?
Prestidigitation to clean the blood off the floor.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah, we're
Guards,
both like double teaming
guards.
this. Can we get this done in under a minute?
Yeah, you step up and magically unsoil the floor of blood with your prestidigitation as Corporal Wolf takes the dead handmaiden out of the room.
Can we have her finish the bath? Because then she's at least out of the room.
Yeah. The bath is pretty much ready anyways.
What the fuck are you doing?
Who's you guys?
While they're doing all of that, I'd like to use thaumaturgy to project my voice and try and project through the keep and call for Captain Tumbrel.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Fuck.
through the whole keep?
Yes.
The whole keep.
Yep.
3 times louder, you hear an echoing voice of the powerful Corporal Wolf call out for Captain Tumbrel, and it just echoes down the corridor. You guys begin to hear the clanking of armor and shuffling feet. You guys have a few more moments alone in this room if before you suspect that more guards will be here. Do you guys want to do anything before the guards come?
Maybe somebody should check out the box.
You guys?
Is
I'm
there
gonna
any
grab
door
it and
I don't know.
swipe it.
a box?
Yeah, you look
Here,
at
swipe.
the box. The box is cut in two, and as you hold it up, the hinge from the lid to the actual base of it is kind of like swinging on both ends as you're holding up 2 separate pieces cut in half, and there's just this large tongue that is severed pretty much all the way down, and it's this big, like, thick, bloody tongue, and whoever's holding it up is kind of just holding it up like a poster is kind of spread out, and there's just like goop of blood and tendrils and whatnot hanging from it as you're just trying to like take what the fuck is this thing. You do see
too, and clean the blood with prestidigitation from the floor, that any mess that it made as well.
You do see grabbing it, that shoved down its gullet is actually the very impressive golden necklace of Azurite, and then a couple of like odds and end rings and stuff that look like it'd be worth for gold if
Sleight of hand.
sleight of hand. All right, give me a sleight of hand from your party, I guess.
19.
What
I,
is-
No, 19.
I have +7.
What is happening here?
Suddenly Brad is just
You're gonna be
confused
busted.
as you just like swipe down this thing's, just like, I see something in there, and you reach in and it's you're just like kind of gushing around in this thing's like slimy mouth, and you pull out this massive golden necklace and pocket it with a 19.
I add +7 actually. I didn't add the 7. That was my roll. So
Yeah, so unless
20.
anyone's like actively watching her, which someone might be, it probably goes unnoticed.
26.
26. Brad, you're actively watching, so give me a perception check.
I'm like pretty sure I'm staring at her. So
Yeah,
like, what the fuck is going on?
yeah, give me a perception check at advantage, since she's literally doing it basically right in front of you, but that's pretty fucking sneaky, so you're gonna have a hard time even seeing her somehow.
I got 12 and a natural 1.
All right, so like she like Houdini's you, like she swings
Look over
to the other
there.
direction, and you get like whipped in the face by a tendril, and you're just like, what the fuck are you doing? And then before you know it, she's just like has her hands back out in front of her, or him. I keep saying her, sorry.
Sorry.
Him.
It's
And
confusing.
And he's just playing with this dead carcass of a thing. You don't really know what happens. Midna, what are you doing as you finish prestidigitating the room? You're looking around, trying to like take this all in. What just happened?
I'd like to use detect magic and see if there's anything I can tell what's left. Like what just happened here. there's
All
any
right.
magic or anything indicating like what the hell's going on.
All right. So the first thing that comes off is there's a faint detect of. Let me just double check here, actually, before I just blurb out random nonsense. Oh wow, it's actually not an abjuration. Wow.
Oh shit. Well, there goes that thought.
Yeah, me too. I thought for sure that was going to be abjuration, but the jewelry box is obviously giving off some form of abjuration or magic, not abjuration, but you would recognize this thing as a mimic with your detect magic. And it basically is some monstrosity of a monster that takes the form of inanimate objects and is actually just a death machine. And you begin to wonder, like, how the fuck this jewelry box would have gotten into this room.
You guys, when the guards get here, if anyone asks, she fainted from the monster.
You hear the
No
sounds
shit,
of
Sherlock.
guards' foot getting louder and louder. This is the last chance for anybody to do anything in this room.
Is there? Can I do Can I do a perception check to see if there's anything else that would have been out of the ordinary?
Yeah, go ahead. Give me a perception check. Anybody else?
20, natural 20. Oh yeah, so 22.
That's actually so lucky.
Can I also do a perception check?
Yeah, grill me a perception also.
Discovering all the
17.
secret doors.
17.
17. So only Garen notices that on the northern wall, there's this massive tapestry of basically like the prior history to Helda's family lineage before she was married off. And as you are looking at it, I don't even know how, because like you literally needed a 20 or higher to notice this. It seems like this just like the tapestry has recently been disturbed, and you just get this feeling and you pull it back, and then there's this faint indentation in the wall, and you slide your hands around and reveal that there is indeed a secret corridor hallway. And as you push this forth, I'm going to say that Midna and you are both, as you're investigating, noticing it. As Corporal Wolf and Owen and Brad are probably just like freaking out in the room, like, or Wolf's outside and Owen and Brad are freaking out, like, what are we going to do? Like, we got to get her story straight. Say she was sleeping. No shit, she was sleeping.
Frank Schmessler does not agree with this.
You two notice the secret corridor. Both of you give me an investigation check. Or one of you can give me it as advantage if someone's particularly good at investigation.
Sorry, give me
20. So 15 plus 5 investigation, 20.
Actually, my investigation's plus 6, so that's pretty high, isn't it?
Yeah, go ahead and roll it. 20 and then
20 plus 6.
Jesus, you rolled a natural 20? Impressive. You both notice at the same time then, rolling 20 or higher than 20, that on the basically where the corridor slides open and reveals this secret corridor is a ripped piece of fabric. And you pull it off and you look at it, and it's clearly of fine make. And it's just this tiny little speck of red fabric.
Well, I'm gonna pick it up then.
You pick it up, and now you hear that any second the guards are coming in. What do you guys do?
I pocket the red fabric. We pull back the curtain to be flat, like nothing happened here. And I say, we'll talk about it at the trader's place.
Sounds good. I'm gonna like bitch back away and not be looking at it, so it looks like I don't really notice it.
So everyone like runs out into the room and then just assumes like a nonchalant position. And is like leaning against the wall.
I'm checking the forehead of. Actually, I probably shouldn't be touching my lady. You're checking the forehead of my lady. I'm
fanning her gently with a pillow.
Shell Tumbrel comes running up to you with about 6 other men and just like, I heard your call. What is going on here, Private?
There was a terrible monster. It attacked the head handmaiden's daughter. Unfortunately, and I point down at her body, which I've covered with like a shirt, my own shirt or something,
One
and
of
I
the
go,
sheets that I was supposed to bring in the room.
no, definitely not one of the sheets she was supposed to put on the bed. Definitely my own shirt or cloak or something.
By the god, is the lady okay? Is the Baroness okay? And the guards begin to run into the room.
She
And I say she fainted when the monster attacked the handmaiden, and we rushed in as soon as we could and dispatched it. And kind of just, I'm telling this to her as she charges into the room, and I'm
They
just
charge
following
into the
behind her.
room and see that the lady is fainted, which 45 seconds is now basically passed, and she wakes up in gas and begins to scream again. To which she sees the room full and a monster. She begins to shudder to herself. What is going on? And she obviously distraught. Captain Tumbrel.
We have protected you, my lady.
Oh gosh.
Wink, wink, nod, nod.
The threat is gone. It's
You
all
want-
right now.
Do you want to make a roll of some sorts?
Make that romance roll.
I'm gonna go with the deception.
Deception. All right. That's still a disadvantage.
Fuck you. That one is good.
Guards and
That was
servants.
that was a 4, so I'm not even sure why I'm rolling the second dice. That was a 10. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 4.
Yeah. She's going to point and say, these individuals, I don't recognize them. They're all new here. They had something to do with this.
I went out into the hall, by the way, before.
To which Shell peeks around the corner and she looks to you, Wolf, and says, wait a second. Weren't all of you just hired today?
Well, yeah, I was hired today.
You're in the
Yeah,
other
I was
room.
hired today.
And him, that one, Frank, he too hired today. And I remember that insignificant swine's swiveling little nerd over there. She points to Owen. All of you.
No, I was hired this morning.
Something's going on here, and we're going to get to the bottom of it.
I agree.
We
Let's
had
get to
nothing
the bottom
do
of
with
this.
This
You
treasure
all-
box was not of our doing.
You all
I
are
don't
coming
even
with
know
me.
these people.
And then they're going to basically point their weapons at you and say that you have to come with them to the cells to be questioned. What do you guys do, if anything?
I was already in the hallway.
Oh,
Yeah, which is where Shell and Wolf are talking. So like you come running out to the hallway to see him getting grilled, and then she looks at you, and she's a particularly keen-eyed captain of the guard who takes her job very seriously and makes it of her utmost attention to know who's coming and going from this. So she recognizes you as a new recruit.
I wrecked as fuck, sheath my weapon, and go along peacefully
All right.
with my 1 hit point.
Anybody else doing anything as they as you guys get pulled down to the basement for questioning?
no, I'm like hyper Frank Schmetzler right now, man.
Is there any possibility of me pulling out a hide?
A hide what? Sorry, you cut out on me.
Hide.
A hide?
A hide?
Like
You can definitely try. You're gonna have a hard time doing it for sure.
Double disadvantage.
I should have just like hid behind the tapestry is what I should have done.
Yeah, you should have stayed in the secret room for sure if you wish to hide. So yeah,
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
there's a lot. There's not really a whole lot to hide. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt since you're a rogue, but it will be a disadvantage.
Fudge. Oh, I rolled a 6 plus I don't know what's stealth.
Yep.
So, yeah, plus 7. 6 plus 7, 13.
Yeah,
And then a 4 plus 7. So.
yeah, it all kind of happened so fast. Like
Yeah.
you guys were just discovering the secret room at the last second anyways. Like you guys almost didn't discover it at all. And then when you come out, you're just like, shit, the guards are here. And you try to run and you're like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And then as you come running out, you just see the guards arriving and then you're just kind of stuck there. Sorry.
Well, the one lady also doesn't have a handmaiden anymore, so I don't know what she's gonna do.
Yeah, Sylvia Rels is definitely dead due to my terrible rolling.
Murderer. Blood on your hands,
I'm
finally.
super upset about this because I was like starting to like her.
Yeah, she was nice. And yeah, you feel a bit of guilt for sure, Midna. But
I
before you
feel
have time
awful.
to process this, you're apparently under some form of arrest. You're not being formally arrested, but they're like asking you to go downstairs to apparently the prison cells where you'll be questioned further. What are you doing actually?
I'm just gonna for now just go quietly along with this.
All right. Anybody else doing anything but going quietly along?
Or can I do an investigation check of the area, like as we're walking, or and
Is
just see
there
if there's
any
anything?
possibility for me to like get keys on the way?
You want to slide a hand?
Well, if there's a possibility for me to.
I mean, there's always a possibility.
Ready and
But there's also a possibility that you get caught. So
yeah.
And murdered.
you have a total of 7 guards escorting
So
you.
let's go along for now.
Yeah. Give me an insight check, and we'll see if you come across an opportunity where it seems reasonable.
Insight. What's insight? I rolled.
Wisdom.
It's probably a pretty high number. I rolled a 6, but I don't know what my bonuses are.
Your bonuses are
That's your wisdom.
Wisdom. My wisdom sucks at 6.
Yeah, you get the gut feeling that it's probably not a good choice to do this right now. Have 7 eyes on you pretty much at all times.
Okay. Yep. Let's go along the way.
All right.
Just
Yeah.
make her investigation.
What's that? Sorry.
Was
Oh yeah. Yeah. You can. What are you trying to investigate? Sorry, Midna.
I just want to see if I can figure out anything along the way, see anything we're missing, like any other sort of. I don't know. I guess that's kind of broad. Sorry, I wasn't really sure. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't really know where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll hold off for now
Yeah, there's a whole lot going on.
till we get to where we're going.
Yeah, and you're brought down to the basement of this cell where you are indeed put in cells, and you have to wait for like a good 30 minutes to 45 minutes where you're just left in this dark, dingy cell.
During that time, is there a possibility for me to better hide jewelry? I don't know. Are they searching us? Or?
Yeah, they're definitely searching you, so you're gonna have to give me a sleight of hand to hide said jewelry.
Fudge. Fudge. When I sleight of handed it before, is there like a possibility for me to have like hit it better? Because I rolled really good on that.
I mean, you rolled really good on that, but now that you're being like searched, unless you're really putting that somewhere interesting, I don't really know how well you can hide it on you.
Got mimic gullet goo on it.
Yeah, it has mimic gullet goo on it.
You can. I would reason if you were really worried about it, you could try to sleight of hand, get rid of it along the way, and then that DC would be lower.
Get rid of it, but not
But stash it.
Cloth. Yeah.
All right, so that DC will be lower. I'm gonna say because that is like you're not just being searched, but still not a good chance.
Oh, this sucks. 13.
13. All right. This is going to be against the sharp-eyed Captain Tumbrel. Let's see what she rolls.
Oh, roll a 1.
Oh, she rolled a natural 16, not including modifiers.
Oh.
You see like this flower pot as you're going by, and you just go to bump and like trip, and then try to dump it into the flower pot, to which she grabs your wrist and pulls it up, and you just have the lady's necklace in your hand.
It still has goop on it, right?
Still goopy, yes.
Yeah.
And she says, she actually doesn't say anything. She just shakes her head and says, "This does not look good for you."
That's why I was trying to get rid of it. But here, I'll just give it to her. It still has the goop on it. So
Put you in a shell now, or a cell, sorry, as you guys are waiting. Yeah. And after 45 minutes, they come down, and you're met with Tavares. You're met with Tavares, Shell, Milton, and let me see. And Bryce. Fuck you guys.
Who's Tavares again?
Tavares is the guy that you spoke with in the Orc's Eye, who gave you all the details. Milton is the guy that gave you the lead. So those two know you. And then Bryce is
Travaris, Milton, and
Bryce.
Right.
ew. Okay.
And then Shell, sorry. So there's 4 of them, which pull you out, and they demand your story.
Who's Travaris?
Can I take a short rest while we wait?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'm going to use both my hit dice. That's not going to help.
Frank
I'm gonna
Schmetzler,
take
sir.
a short rest
Extra
as well,
service.
but just so you know, I'm back, guys.
Welcome on back. You've been put to the cells of the prison, and unfortunately, Garen was caught trying to ditch the hot jewelry that she stole.
God damn it.
And now you're being questioned, and your story is being asked by the 4 individuals that I said. So
Are
Tavares,
they all
Milton,
together in the room at the same time?
yes.
Okay. So
All
we're not
right.
individually. They're not questioning us individually.
No, they.
Yeah, this is kind of.
Oh yeah, they would probably ask you all for your story individually first.
But-
So
So
Yeah.
okay. So who's questioning me?
they all 4 ask you at the same time, and they
Oh,
pull you in individually.
Okay.
So are
Do
we
you have-
pretty much like being honest about what happened here? Or?
You guys have time in the cell to discuss this if you wish to.
So closest thing to the truth as possible, except for she fell asleep. We were just happened upon it. Bad luck.
We can't give up. We were supposed to be nonchalant. We can't give anybody up. We can't tell names. We can't tell the story about the Orc side. We can't tell anything. We have to keep going on with this charade. I mean, if we start breaking these people down, it's going to be death for everyone.
Oh nope, it's everything that happened is what happened. We just got the jobs today on our way here.
All right, have a little bit of a
Yep.
backstory ready about how you got here. I'm Frank Schmetzler.
From Feywater, and this was looking for work, and
Yeah.
Yep.
Frank
But we didn't all
motherfucker
come
Schmetzler.
in together, right? We're all separately looking for work.
Well, we saw
Yep.
each other on the carriage, but
Coincidence.
I mean, I literally met you guys like less than a week ago, so I can play that pretty easily.
well, we all met each other on the carriage, but other than that, we don't really know each other very well.
I unfortunately know this guy over here, but
I'm going on my own, fuckers.
Oh yeah, you guys go way back.
Frank Schmetzler, telling you it's how to do it.
All right, so we're gonna see who's questioned first. That's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4.
I volunteer as tribute.
Frank is up first for his story,
Frank.
and you don't have to like recoup anything. You can just say you either tell exactly what happened, or if you want to tell specific lies, or something in particular besides what you guys just talked about, then tell me.
Just Frank Schmetzler here, sir. You know, just
Yeah.
kind of looking for work and that kind of stuff. What the hell happened? I don't know. We tried to protect her. That's about it.
All right. So you basically just you stick to the story. Don't give too much information. Who wants to go next?
Very vague on
I'll
any
go next.
specifics.
We'll say that Garen is pulled up next then.
I was just going to clean my lady's bed sheets, and then there was a scream, and I ran, and then this one of the guards was being strangled, and then I grabbed one of the swords and I cut it, and then it broke, and then my lady was passed out. I think she fainted. I don't know. And then inside the mouth of this monster was the necklace, and I didn't want to be. I looked and I grabbed it, and then the guards came, and I was scared, and so I didn't want to be thieving it, so I was going to put it in the vice, and it was I don't know what happened or how it got there, but that was just how it happened for me.
And does anyone
And then there was the lady died. Oh, her poor mother. Oh, her poor mother. Okay.
We were lucky the guards were there. They pretty much saved our lives.
Yeah, exactly.
does anyone break the story in particular, or do you guys all kind of stick to the script?
I'm just gonna stick to
Pretty
the
much
script. I
gonna-
mean,
Not
we didn't really do anything
anything
wrong.
about that secret room. Not mentioned.
Yeah, other
anything
than
about
changing my name, that's it.
Okay, so then roll me either a perception or sorry, a performance or a deception, because you are keeping truce. And then as a group, as long as you all succeed higher, then
15.
you're free. 15.
14.
Ooh,
No.
22?
10.
22. 10.
I don't know if you can hear me. No, yeah,
I can hear you with the 22 you said?
Yeah.
So we got 22, we got 15, we got 10. What else do we got?
14.
14. And what did Wolf roll?
Wolf's a terrible liar and chooses not to lie and rolls 2 minus 1.
2 minus 1.
I cannot. I have -1 deception and -1 performance. It's not going to go well.
Well, lucky for you, you guys rolled 3 successes and 2 failures. Although I guess technically the nat 1 would count as a.
It's not a nat 1. It was a 2
Oh yeah, you're
minus
right.
1.
You're right. You're right. You're safe. That is the only. That is the only thing that saves you.
That was so close.
Yeah, that is incredibly close.
I'm just going to tell the very boring truth.
Yeah. And with that being said, let me see here. You guys are let free. And even though Bryce apparently is very heavy-handed in wanting to imprison Garen, it appears that Tavares and Milton are basically the ones that single-handedly keep you from being imprisoned. And you guys are all able to get off due to some half-lucky rolls with that story being said. And you're dismissed. I'm going to say
back to duty, ma'am.
that you're relieved for the night.
I'll ask if I can pick up another shift.
You're like bleeding.
No. I'm healed. I'm all right.
She shakes her head and says, "Don't test me. I don't even know if you're still a rook here or not yet."
Yes, ma'am. And I head back to the barracks.
All right. What do you guys do now that you just narrowly escaped being arrested?
Aren't we gonna go?
Oh, we're gonna watch.
The place later.
I think that's postponed after this event.
I still think we're meeting there, right?
We've all at least we can pretend like we've bonded now, so there's no reason we can't sit in a group and talk.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for us all to be hanging out now. Share
Yeah.
experience.
Because I have information. I just I don't want to talk about it with. I'm talking to the DM, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it with Bryce because that piece of red cloth. He's the only person in this castle that wears red. Everybody else in this castle wears blue.
Yep.
So Bryce is a very high culprit under my book, and he was either spying on the milady, if not in her room, putting things in there he shouldn't have been. And I want to talk to Milton about that, and maybe I can't remember, and Braxton later about that. So I'm not sure. I do want to still meet up with them. Bryce was part of the group that was drilling us, and I couldn't say anything at that point.
Yeah, you can definitely head to Zan's Emporium if you want to. That is apparently the meetup place with Braxton Tavares.
Yeah.
Anyone going with her, or are you guys just going to hang out at the barracks?
I think
I'm gonna go with her.
No, I'm gonna go with her.
I'm going to not be suspicious and stay behind.
Owen?
honestly Owen would probably do the same thing unless somebody like said, "Hey, let's all go for drinks after that" or something. He's just gonna stick.
I imagine it's like, "Hey, let's go for drinks," and then suddenly you hear the rickety voice of Tarn behind you. Suddenly like, "Drinks! You have the entire library in a mess. You're not going anywhere. You have to reorganize the entire and clean and dust." And then you're just like, "Drinks maybe next time, guys," as you're pulled back to
Pretty much.
he's just like, "Where were you? I haven't seen you in the past couple of hours."
It's a long story.
I'll go and help him if I can. Just try to be useful.
If the are you going to try to if the librarian Tarn sees you, he would absolutely would say that a meathead like you has no place in the library. You probably can't even read.
No, but I can count to this many.
Yeah,
Can I cast disguise on him?
yeah.
Oh my god.
If you cast,
We're seriously pushing our luck right now.
I think it's disguise self. I don't know if I can cast it on someone else.
yeah, you make Corporal Wolf look like corporate Wolf as
I get a business suit.
Yeah, you whip him up in a 3-piece business suit. And yeah, you can go help poor Owen clean up the library as the other 3. I believe Brad said he was going to. Brad is muted.
Oh, and I'm going to. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I think-
following her.
Yeah,
Frank,
sorry,
Brad,
I was on mute.
Newberry.
Yeah, I'm going.
All right, so yeah, you guys head to Zan's Emporium in the middle of the night, sneaking out of the keep for a night of drinks is your story. You head to the Emporium, where basically in the back shed of this area is a candle lit where you enter in and you see Tavares sitting there wide-eyed and just like, what in the meaning of, I said discreet.
You'd rather her lady died?
Well,
Yeah.
obviously not, but what in the hell happened? Like, the necklace looked incredibly bad. You don't understand how hard it was not to get you fired for having that necklace on you.
I don't.
We're kind of wondering what the hell happened too.
I was
Tell me-
wanting to check
tell me
that
you have
necklace to
something.
see if something happened with it. Is there a way for you to just check that necklace to make sure it didn't have anything to do with causing that monster? That's the main reason I wanted it. Do I need to roll?
Yeah, I have a feeling this necklace is cursed.
Yeah, I wanted to check the necklace to make sure nothing was wrong with it because that was inside the monster.
You can make an Arcana check mid now to see if there's any runes etched on it.
All right.
Does he have it?
Or if you have a detect magic, you can cast it. No, Tavares has no means of magic, he says.
Oh.
But if you want to cast a detect magic, actually, you already cast detect magic, and only the jewelry box pinged off, not the necklace itself. So it appears you would already know from prior that there's no this necklace isn't magic.
Okay.
That's true. So no point doing an Arcana check?
No.
Okay. I do want to talk to him about did he get the map, and there's secret rooms in the ladies' chamber.
Yeah, he says that he knows of the secret rooms. They're kept pretty secret. Only a select few, basically the High Council and the Baron and the Baroness and the Captain of the Guards, know about the secret room. Which is it's pretty normal for a keep to have like Plan B escape routes in case the Baron is ever assaulted or she needs to make a getaway.
Is Braxton supposed to be back in those rooms?
He would definitely know about them. He is one of and he begins to count, one of probably 6 people that know of it.
This Bryce, not Braxton. Bryce.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would say that he is one of 6 people that would know of it.
Was he? Because he was back there, and I pulled out the piece of red cloth that we found. This was from his cloak, right? He's the only one who wears red.
He looks at it and studies it. I admit that is rather concerning information. You found this in the secret corridor in Our Lady's getaway hallway.
Yeah, and she's with me, so she can attest.
Yeah, and you guys all attest, and he says, then it appears that my suspicions that something is off about Bryce is perhaps right.
Do you guys talk about how the Ritson doesn't really respond? He just goes to Bryce for what he thinks he should do. He's still kind of a puppet, but he has a different master. Does Bryce do magic?
No, Bryce is just a normal middle-aged man.
I don't think he's that normal.
You don't understand. Even he it's only of recently that he changed. He used to be a jolly fellow, and I don't know. he just seems like a different person now.
So obviously, this is all stemming from somewhere, but we can't seem to find the source. Then, I mean,
Yes, we
the
can't
magic
find the
seemed to
source.
come out of the jewelry box, but then when we checked it afterwards, there was no curse or anything on it. So
So here's my worries now. If you guys bring this forth to the Baron,
we have no proof.
exactly, that's my worries. Bryce is clearly Baron Rhineson's favorite right now. And although I admit that this piece of fabric is almost without a doubt the same make of his cloth, after what just happened tonight, I don't think it would rule in your favor. I think we need more proof. But I also think that something is up with Bryce. We need to somehow find more evidence against him.
Why does he wear red when everyone else wears blue?
He just says it's a fashion preference. There's no official rules that say you have to wear blue.
But if everyone else does it, he must do it to sort of make himself look
Well,
stand
for
out.
the longest time, he did wear blue just like everybody else. But then around the same time, his mood changed. He switched to the red and said that it suits the Master Chamberlain better to stand out.
Is anybody else close to Bryce?
Just the Baron. He doesn't really bother talking to anybody else besides the Baron, and then when he does, he's just giving out orders for the most part.
Well,
Being really like unintelligent, Brad's gonna step forward and be like, "I bet you the Baron is trying to kill the Baroness. I'll bet you."
He seemed so unattached. I mean, he didn't even seem like he had it in him. Didn't even seem like he cared enough.
Oh, I might be right.
I think Bryce is trying to kill her.
But why would Bryce have her killed?
Maybe the Baron's telling him to.
Because she's upsetting the Baron.
Well, either way, if we want any grounds to stand on, we will need more proof.
Okay. Is there a map for the castle? Do you have that?
Yeah, he'll give you a map for the castle. I don't actually have a map for the castle, but we'll say that he gives you one.
Okay.
Reluctantly, though.
Yeah, I'd imagine he'd be pretty reluctant after everything that happened.
Which he says this is not what he necessarily had in mind when he hired discreet investigators.
Yeah.
He says, don't get me wrong, I understand that you potentially saved Our Lady Baroness's life, but that was far from discreet.
So that's not what you want then?
I'm hard to say. I don't want to say that I don't want you to save the Baroness's life, but maybe next time don't be caught with her jewelry in her hand and her favorite handmaiden with her throat ripped out. Poor Brianna is distraught.
Well, the good way to look at it is that can really only happen once. So, hey.
Depends on how many kids you have.
So my thought is that maybe we should keep a closer eye on Bryce.
Yeah. Definitely, but not too close, because if you're getting in his way, he'd get mad at you.
Absolutely. What are your guys' next course of actions?
I was thinking of doing some midnight sneaking, do some, maybe check the corridors, see if there's anything else in there that looks suspicious.
He has a room where he keeps most of his, all of his, he has an office, sorry.
Yeah.
Also has a secretary by the name of Tamara who watches over it and staffs it at nighttime, locked by key. And then the Baron, or Bryce, does not actually, he has a manor. He doesn't stay in the keep.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, he does not.
Okay. I kind of want to see what's going on at Bryce's place, see if there's anything over there, but I don't know. Is there? I feel like there's something.
Yeah. Tavares would ask if there's anything else you have to report, or if you'll get back to it.
Just the cloth, I think, for now, and suspicions about.
So he says, whatever you do, this is obviously not enough to go against him. We need more evidence. So we need you to keep a closer eye on Bryce, but obviously keep your distance.
Yeah.
And boss, I could just finish him off.
Then you would just be seen as a treasonous assassin.
Oh, I'll get away with it.
It's not what I hired you for. A piece of cloth is not enough to condemn a man.
All right, Frank Metzler, here we go.
Let's not turn to assassins unless we absolutely have to.
Dang it, I need another level.
He would dismiss you guys unless you have anything else to tell him.
No, I think that's it for now.
To which you guys go back for the night, and you can rest up. Long rest for everybody.
Yay.
And what do you guys have planned for the next day?
Oh gosh. Are we reporting again in for cleaning toilet duty?
Yeah, it's we're not going to go over everything, but unless you guys do anything specific, it's going to be a normal, regular, horrendously long, overworked day at the keep.
Yeah.
Is it still? I mean, I feel like I was working right under her, and
yeah, you have now been promoted to
she like
first handmaiden.
furious with me, or is she happy that I helped her?
She already seems to literally forget who you are. Like,
awesome.
Even though you probably saved her life, she doesn't know your name. She barely even looks at you. Although if you even like hesitate in dawdling at what Sylvia taught you, it seems like none of the actual nobles themselves, besides Brianna, are even mourning the loss of Sylvia, unfortunately.
All right, well that sucks, but
it's like another day in the office there.
Owen would bring more of his stuff with him in his scholar's pack, so he has like all the rest of his gear with him today, and he also prepared a combat spell just in case something bad happens. But he's just gonna try to keep his head down and do his job.
As I'm working, I kind of want to keep an eye out for any tapestries or any way about that would have secret corridors behind them. And if by chance I like happen to go in to change the sheets while she's busy, I might go down the corridor and explore.
Yeah, so if you even, I would say looking at the map, you would just know that that's just literally like an escape route. It just leads back out into the hallway. It's just another means in case she was ever assaulted in her room that she would have a plan B exit route. It doesn't lead anywhere. It just literally opens back out into the hallway, like a little bit down in behind a statue.
Okay.
And in terms of like secret corridors on the map that you're looking at, it just seems like most of them are like that. Like in the Baron's room, throne room, there's all like these kind of like plan B getaway rooms.
Okay. I'm going to want to map those out in case later I have to stealth the castle and need places to hide.
All right.
I kind of want to, on the map he gave me, do a memory of the map and for hiding purposes,
Yeah.
all that derpiness.
We'll say that you feel like you got a good grasp on that until a moment arises where you have to pull it up, and then we'll see how well you rolled to remember.
Yeah. I feel like it should make the DC a little bit easier, though.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So then, does everyone just basically go on with their workday then?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would like every once in a while I would brag about how this is the longest job I've ever had and how we're doing so good.
I would probably mention that something horrible happened. There was a monster, and I would ask the.
Gossiping.
I would gossip. Yeah, I would gossip, asking my fellow chamber pot cleaner
I probably would too, because other girls are probably a
if
good
there's
way to
ever
get
been
information.
like that before.
Yeah, and the rumors seem to be flying that the Baron maybe tried to assassinate his wife because he no longer wants to be with her. That seems to be like the gossip, although no one would ever say that out loud.
Has anything like that ever happened before? I asked my pot cleaner fellow person.
He would explain no, but the Baroness has been something else as of late. All she does is yell at him. There's only so much he can take, obviously, before, unfortunately, due to being two noble families, they're expected to produce an heir whether they like each other or not. But I don't know. The Baron doesn't seem to be interested in her anymore.
Was there anybody else who didn't like her other than like, if the Baron's not interested, is there somebody else either that would not like her?
She seemed well liked enough. I know you guys aren't from around here, but just not that long ago, things were completely different here. They were content. They were a happy couple, working on producing the next little shit lord that would go around barking orders at us like we're dogs.
Well,
He's like
everything changed pretty much overnight.
More or less. Something definitely happened. There's a lot of suspicion that maybe the copper hills aren't producing as much copper. That's what I think, at least. Well, that's the only reason that would explain why the Baron would suddenly start caring about the copper.
In some of
Would
my
that
free
explain why he's suddenly completely cold towards his wife?
Well, the thought of losing an entire economy would make a man maybe a little more stressed out. I don't really know.
What I want to know is, why does that copper turn into azurite? If it's weathering copper turning into azurite, are they trying to turn the copper into azurite?
Yeah, well, the azurite's a whole hell of a lot more worth than the copper is. Copper just as is just copper, but this azurite, all these fancy rich folk, they like to use it as jewelry. Apparently, in certain instances, spellcaster types can use it as components or whatnot. It's a pretty valuable thing.
Okay. Side note. I might want to later talk to Braxton or Milton about happenings at the mine and what's going on up there.
Okay.
So I don't know.
We'll say that you can. So there's two different things. There's the mine, and then there's the refinery. So the copper is brought in from the mine to the refinery. The refinery is called the brick, and then from there, the copper ore is weathered by forge into azurite. So do you want to ask about? We'll say that you can bump into whoever you wish to and ask whatever you wish to.
So they are turning that copper ore into azurite.
Yeah. It is, from what you've learned, far more precious and worth more money than the copper as is.
Okay.
And ever since a few months ago, the Baron has been meticulous in knowing exactly how much copper and exactly how much azurite is coming and going from the mine to the refinery to the refinery, and then from the refinery down the river. Like he is, that is what he cares about the most.
Okay. Gosh, I feel like we're like Clue, murder mystery / D&D going on here.
It was Professor Plum in.
No, it was the.
I feel like we're trying to get to the complete bottom of this mystery.
in the room with the mimic.
So if you guys aren't doing anything particular, the
Okay.
shift ends, and give me a perception check, anybody.
Oh, 6. That's really bad. 6. I did.
Do we
6.
all roll or just one?
Anyone who
16.
thinks that they're paying attention and trying to watch out on Bryce or Baron or anything.
I've been doing it.
Just a
and I
10.
have
16.
passive.
Can I see anything?
And I have my
16 is-
passive.
18.
18 and 16 is enough to know that when the shift comes to an end, I don't know how you guys come across it, but you see Chamberlain Bryce locking his office, saying his farewells to his assistant Tamara, which is literally just don't let anybody in my office, coldly. And then he begins to leave the keep.
Is my shift over?
Everyone's shift, I'm going to assume, is over, and you guys are kind of doing your own thing at this point in time.
Can I stealthily follow him without him noticing?
Probably a chance, as long as I guess Wolf or Midna is relaying that information, since they're technically the only ones that's seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have told the stealthy rogue about it, and after that, I would have gone off to try and find the captain to see if I can mend fences and
Yeah, so you're doing
start a
nice,
relationship.
Yeah.
Work relationship, not a romantic one.
She would definitely find work for you. I'll give everyone a chance before we go on. What is Owen doing?
Owen is probably
Being yelled at.
no. If he's off his shift, he's probably gonna want to get out of the library.
You begin to like start signing out, and then you hear like Tarn just calling out, like, "Where do you think you're going? You've only been here 16 hours. That's hardly even a shift."
Owen's gonna run away, and he's gonna go into the town unless he sees anyone else.
He's going to go to what? Sorry.
He's gonna go into the town unless he sees any of the party members. And
Yeah, I'll say that you could have bumped into anyone that you mean to bump into.
Okay, well, let me hear what people are doing then.
Midna, what are you doing? You've seen Bryce leaving, so it's up to you if you want to like get in contact with anybody.
Yeah, no, sorry, is the group all still together right now?
The group's kind of all like we're establishing where everybody is. So
I was gonna say I'm just trying to like think where
like
want to let everyone know, but
yeah.
Do a raid on Bryce's office and cast sleep on.
We'll say that we're like kind of like montaging right now, and you and Wolf kind of spot him at the same time, and then you guys are like bumping out into each other throughout the keep, doing different things. We see a scene where like we see Owen running away from the library, Wolf bumping into Garen and telling them that Bryce went that way. So like we're just gonna assume through a montage of scenes that like you guys have bumped into each other and can relay whatever information you want to, and then so whatever you guys really want to do, it's up to you.
Okay, so out of character, do we want to follow him or do we want to go into his office or something like that?
I don't know. Cast sleep on his assistant, or just straight up assassinate her.
Gosh damn.
No.
Violence.
That's probably a
I
bad
definitely
idea.
want to at least follow him.
Okay, yeah. Okay, we'll do the follow then.
So we got 2 people potentially following Bryce. What is Brad? What are you up to?
I keep forgetting about mute. Sorry. I'm gonna do something so mind-boggling for Brad. It's not even gonna be like.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna study about my job. Figure out how to be a better guard.
Okay.
You might even find Brad find his way slowly and unsurely completely to the library to research anything about being a guard that he possibly can.
Interesting.
Thinking that he's like taking this seriously, thinking that he's actually, but really it's just a sad attempt.
I think it'd be funny then if Owen, running away from the library, goes out into the town to find a tavern to get a drink.
Yeah. So Owen, the new recruit, finds himself at the Orc's Eye in the similar corner that they met Tavares in, just slugging ale after. He's like probably the one rooking the absolute, or I miss Wolf's rooking pretty hard, but like Owen's were being rooked pretty hard, having a hard time as a librarian. And you just see him like hunched over, sipping on his very strong, disgusting kind of ale. So that being said, it looks like maybe Midna and Garen want to follow Bryce.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So that would be a stealth check from both of you to see if you can follow him without him noticing.
Oh, nat 20.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. I
Did
rolled
the
a
rogue?
No.
Yep, that makes sense.
The stealthiest one in the world.
Trips over a cat.
Yeah, so we'll say you're following him, and basically as you're doing so, the natural 20, I'm going to say, cancels out the nat 1, but there's a part where like he quickly suspects that someone's behind him, and you see Midna just like shove you into an alleyway and dodge out of the way from being noticed. To which you look back out and you lost track of him, so you begin to like run down, and the last thing you see is him heading to the refinery. And basically, as he gets here, it's about a good almost like 30 minutes down past the outskirts of town, and you see this squat 2-story structure that sits perpendicular to the river. It looks more like a natural weathered formation than something that's actually deliberately constructed. Its stonework is pitted and weathered, and the corners of this building seem to be almost rounded by the age of its existence. As you get in the vicinity of it, you instantly begin to smell and even taste the sulfur of this refinery, which is not caustic by any means, but it doesn't cause any actual distress or anything. But you begin to feel your eyes water and your nostrils burn. And as you begin to cough and try to collect yourself, you look and see that you have lost vision on where Bryce has went, although he was definitely heading in this direction. As you look back at the building, you see several plumes of colored smoke rising off the top of this building from vents that you cannot see from some chimneys on top. And even in the distance, as you're looking at this building, you hear the splashing cadence of the water-powered wheel churning in the river on the north side of the building. As you look, you see a large set of double doors facing you from the west, and it seems like this is the primary access for wagons and carts. And then as you're looking on, you see on the side of the building, the south wall is a single door, but no sign of Bryce. He seems to have went missing in this location. You have essentially lost him.
I assume he went inside though.
It seems like he was heading that way, and as you are now, like town is on the outskirts, like in the back, you look and you see the lights of Lantern, and there's really nothing else in this direction. So he essentially could have only went here.
Is there any like other way for me to like sneak inside?
So you see the double doors, you see the side, the single building on the south side. North side is where the river and the water wheel churn, and then it's a 2-story building, so 25 feet up are a couple windows, but there's no like ledges or anything to get to them.
I think climb is an ability rogues
have. Maybe. I don't think so.
I think it's athletics.
Oh, it's athletics, acrobatics.
Yeah, you have like you can make a. I don't think you have a, because basically there's like a climb in terms of movement, and I don't think you have a climbing speed. That would be under your speeds, but you probably maybe are like proficient in acrobatics, which would help you.
Yeah. So there's a side building, and then there's the main building.
So there's the main building. Sorry, it's only one building, 2 stories high, with chimneys boating on the top, a water wheel in the river, and then a set of double doors facing you. And then on the side of it, on the north side, facing away from the river, is a single door.
Okay, can we
Ride the water wheel and then jump out?
What do you think, Midna? Do you think we should go in? I think we should go in and maybe.
Yep, I definitely agree. Let's do it. We're not gonna find anything out here.
Okay, should we try the door or the window?
I feel like I could probably just slip in through the door.
Okay.
That'd be noticed too much.
So you want to go double door or side door?
I would do side door. Do a
Yeah, I'll
listen
try the
check
side door.
Do a listen check on the door, make sure there's no one there before we try to sneak in.
All right, give me a perception check at disadvantage because it's very loud. There's clattering and the sounds of machinery going on from inside.
Okay, disadvantage. So how much do I subtract from it?
You roll 2 dice and just take the lowest roll.
Okay. So that was a 15.
9.
And that was a 16.
So just faintly with a 15, you hear the murmuring of voices over the sound of what sounds like machinery clacking and burning, and even plumes of smoke seem to be coming. Which door are you listening to? The side door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do hear the murmur of voices. Distant.
I'm like imagining the sounds from the droid factory in Star Wars.
That's pretty much that's accurate.
Beep boop, beep boop.
Beep bop.
Okay. Can we check the door to see if it's
Jiggle the door, 100% locked.
Can I try to pick it? I don't
Do
know.
you have thieves' tools? You probably do.
I think I do. I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, thieves' tools.
You can make a sleight of hand check.
7 plus 7 is 14.
You snap your thieves' tool key. Or I wouldn't say you snap it with a 14. Sorry, you just you don't get in.
Dang it. Okay. I kind of want to go around and try the window.
All right, so the window is actually elevated, and there's nothing really to climb on. I guess besides the water wheel. Do you want to?
I thought, what was it we were playing that thieves could climb? What was that? I thought that was this system.
You get once you level up higher, you get advantage on climbing or something.
Okay.
Like that, but...
That would be a really high die roll. Okay, can we go try the main doors? Can we go?
Yep, you go to the main door, and those two seem to be locked. Although, as you're looking at it, not as an intricate lock. This just literally seems to be a deadbolt or something like that. Easier to pick, you suspect.
Okay, can we listen to see if there's anyone right over on the other side? Cause
same. We'll say that your perception checks carry over, so you do hear murmuring, but it seems distant.
Okay. Okay, can I try to pick the locks then again?
Yeah.
Okay, go re-roll that. And we'll use this dice because he doesn't need that dice. Oh gosh. 7, 11.
Yeah, 11 does not get you entry. So as you're kind of stuck here now, both doors not really giving. You don't really know if you're going to get in through the doors tonight. You think that...
Sorry, I asked Midna if she has any spells that can help me climb up.
I mean...
Featherfall?
That wouldn't help, though.
Well, it makes me light. I can hold on to the building and try to go up.
It doesn't make me light.
It doesn't make me light? What does it make me?
It makes you fall slowly.
Well, I don't know. Would that help?
Would it be too simple to just use prestidigitation and
I'm too heavy.
Build like something for her to stand on, like a ladder or something?
No.
Would that be too much of a trick?
Yeah, it'd be the closest window is 25 feet, so you can only create like a small.
I don't know what your spells
are.
are.
Okay. Can I do can I try just unlocking the door by magic? Is that something I can do?
Well, there's definitely spells that unlock doors, but I don't think you.
I know. I didn't really necessarily pick a specific one for that.
Yeah, knock is a higher level spell, I believe.
Oh yeah, Mage Hand. Mage Hand, go and unlock one of the doors from the inside.
Oh, I did pick. What about Unseen Servant? Could I use
You
that
can
to unlock
definitely
the door?
summon an unseen servant, but I believe, and just let me look it up. Unseen servant, you have to cast it in a range that you can see. So an unoccupied space within range. So yeah, you have to, it would have to be like you can't summon it on the other side of the door.
Okay.
Let me just double
How
check.
about you guys come back and we
I
regroup
think-
and come back tomorrow?
I think what would be for me to wait it out and kind of what is it when the cops just kind of like sit outside and like watch the building?
Yeah, do a little stakeout.
Stakeout?
Stakeout.
Yeah, so you do a stakeout, and I'm gonna say that with the with the nat one, you don't really see. Actually, after a while, you would see later on in the night coming out is a half orc and a couple of other looking like refinery men that lock up the place really, really late and then leave it behind. Obviously off duty.
Do I ever see Bryce?
You do
anywhere?
not.
Oh.
And then it gets to the point now where it's like, are you going to stay up all night long or
Okay, yeah,
just...
no. Okay. In the stakeout. That's ridiculous. So that's I think he must have used like magic or something.
All right. So you go back and after coming, I'm going to say, what time do you roughly call it a night? The guards come out around midnight, or the refinery men come out around midnight, and you wait, I'm going to say, till at least 2 a.m. and he doesn't come, 3 a.m. and then up to you if you go beyond that, but you don't see him come out.
Okay. Yeah, we want to. Okay, yeah. Okay, we'll call it a night then.
Owen would have gone back to the barracks and gone to sleep at like 10.
Yep. So, Captain, you want to speak to the Captain Wolf before we? I think we'll probably close out now because we're pushing on to 2 a.m. And what do you want to talk to the captain about?
Just ask her if anything like this has ever happened, if she knows if anyone's trying to hurt the Baroness, if there's anything I should keep an extra eye out for on watch.
She pulls you in and says, "Listen here, Private. If you ever want to earn that corporal that you had beforehand in whatever bullshit kingdom or fucking noble keep that you think you've come from, let me tell you something. Where you are, you don't go around asking questions. The Baron and the Baroness need to be served, and you are their mindless guard dog. Nothing like this has ever happened before, and it doesn't matter. It's gonna keep going on. We're gonna keep doing our job. As long as we're here and making sure that that Baroness doesn't get murdered like you did, then we'll be fine. I don't think the Baron has any ill contempt towards the Baroness. I think that she has a bad attitude and they were forced to marry each other because their parents are both rich, and now that they've been together for a while, they realize that they don't have much in common. Does that matter? No.
Typical nobles.
They're going to go on being nobles, and we're going to go on being guards. That's the chain of things. That's how it works around here. And if you go asking yourself about that and worrying your little meathead about it, then you're going to be kicked to the curb. She doesn't seem like she cares about the politics. She just looks at it as this is her job, and as long as she's doing it, then that's all that matters.
All right.
One thing that
I can abide by that.
Captain, nothing has ever happened to the Baron, and I'm going to keep it that way. Same with the Baroness. We'll up the duty for sure. We have it now that guard will be in the quarters with the Baroness and the Baron, and we're investigating where this monstrosity has come from, but nothing has turned up yet.
I'd like to volunteer, if I may, to continue to guard the Baroness. I feel like I've shown my worth.
Give me what do you want to say? Persuasion? If you can read something else, you can give it to me. But
I'm terrible at interacting with people.
there's little chance that you're going to be guiding the Baroness again, anyways. But
all right. Yeah, we'll go with persuasion because that seems the most reasonable thing. I'm not going to intimidate her, so. 16.
16. We'll give her time to forget your existence, which, trust me, won't be that long, and then we'll talk about it.
Yes, ma'am.
You keep proving yourself. I admit that you've caught my attention, and I know a good soldier when I see one, but don't worry yourself about the politics. Don't forget what you are. You're a soldier.
Yes, ma'am. And I salute and wait for her to dismiss me.
She does.
Right.
And does anyone else want to do anything before we end the session? Obviously, with some new leads and whatnot, does anyone want to have anything else they do before we close out?
Not really. I think I'm just gonna. I don't know. I think we've got all the information we can get for tonight, anyways.
Yeah, you suspect that maybe
You can close out.
the brick it's called, which is the refinery, but maybe you want to have a little backup before you do because you didn't have much luck getting in. You would think that a big strong galoot maybe could bust open those doors, or if you maybe bought some better supplies, you could pick the lock. Maybe you need to upgrade your thieves tools. They're a bit old and unkempt, we'll say.
Wolf will try to organize a early morning calisthenics group amongst the other guards.
You don't get much in the means of interest, but yeah, you do.
You can close out on Brad loving his post as he stands on guard with a giant smile on his face.
Yeah, Frank Smelcher is trying his best to be the next greatest guard ever.
Oh, yeah, man, he's looking for that promotion.
I like it.
Yeah,
All right.
you can be second best. It's all right.
And we will close out tonight and figure out what happens tomorrow night as we get to session 3. And I can tell you by how far we made it tonight that this will be more than the 3-shot. So cheers for that.
All right. So we're going to
thanks,
start
Frank.
3 hours early tomorrow and play 3 hours later. We'll make it.
Yeah. All right,
So
guys.
we're leveling up every episode.
Fighting one mimic did not level you guys up to level 3, unfortunately, tonight. But we will close out. Thanks for playing, guys. Thanks for anyone who's watching, and we will see you all tomorrow night. Peace out.